Assalamu alaikum students. This video is about your chapter number 14 in class 6 social studies book, and the chapter name is The People of Pakistan and South Asia. Let's see what interesting things we are going to discuss in this video today. Chapter number 14 is about the people of Pakistan and South Asia. Students, we have discussed in detail previously in chapter number 1 the geographical location of Pakistan and as well as the different civilizations which flourished in early Pakistan. In this chapter we are going to discuss the different people of Pakistan and South Asia. The many different races invaded the subcontinent over the last 3500 years. Most of them came from East and Central Asia through the northwest where Pakistan now stands. Most of these invaders left behind some traces of their presence and some settled down permanently. Those invaders include the Aryans, Mughals, Persian, Greeks. Sometimes the invading soldiers married local women and remained behind. As a result, the people of Pakistan as well as the people of South Asia are very varied. Generally in Pakistan, we have the main groups of Punjabis which makes up about 55% of population, Sindhis 20%, then we have Pathans, migrants and Baloch. During the partition of the subcontinent, millions of Muslims came from other parts of the subcontinent to Pakistan, adding to this mixed population. Because the people of Pakistan come from so many different backgrounds, so there are many languages spoken in Pakistan, like we know Punjabi, Pashto, Saraiki, Sindhi, Balochi and Warabi. Many people in Pakistan speak 2 or more languages, often their own, and Urdu, which is the national language of Pakistan. However, English is the main language of education, business and technology. In this video, we will try to understand some main terms which are used throughout in this chapter number 14, that is the people of Pakistan and South Asia. These terms include population, rural and urban life, population growth and overpopulation, and literacy. And then at the end we will discuss in detail the topic which include the importance of road signs and SARC and its aims and objectives. Let's start with the first term, that is population. Population tells us that how many individuals are living in a certain area. It means the group of people living in an area like a city or a country makes up its population. The total number of people residing in a place are called its inhabitants or the residents. Pakistan is world's 5th most populated country, students, and the population of Pakistan is predicted to be near 220 million by 2020 and get to 245 million by 2030. Punjab is the most populated province of Pakistan. You know, students, that the growing population is a major issue nowadays. World Population Day is an annual event which is observed on July 11 every year, and it seeks to raise the awareness of global population issue. The population is one of the important factors which help to balance the environment. The population should be in a balance with the means and the resources of the country. If the population will be balanced, then all the needs and demands of the people can be easily fulfilled, which helps to preserve the environment of the country. If we talk about South Asia, students, India is the most populated country of South Asia, and Maldives, on the other hand, is the least populated country of South Asia. If we want to know about the total number of a student in a class, we do the counting. Similarly, if we want to know about the total number of people living in a country, we need to count them. This process of counting the people in an area or in a country is called the census. Through census, we get the details about the population. Census is the official process of counting the population and recording some facts about it. After the census, we came to know about the number of the people living in each house of a country, the language they speak, their educational level and their occupation. In Pakistan, census is done after every 10 years and it is the responsibility of Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. It is a major and a time-consuming but a very important exercise. The census staff visits each and every home across the country and records the facts which are then compiled on a national level. This detail forms the database. There have been a total of 6 censuses since 1951 in Pakistan. The last census in Pakistan was in 1998. Since 2010, an effort has been made to start another census and some data has been collected, but it is not final. The data available to us today is based on formal and informal estimates. Based on population density, human settlement is divided in two categories, urban and rural. Or we can say in easy words that life in town and cities is called urban life and life in villages and farm is called the rural life. We know that the life in urban areas that are town and cities is fast and complicated, and whereas life in rural areas that are the villages and farm is simple and relaxed. Urban people are engaged in non-agricultural work like trade, commerce, and in contrast, the primary occupation of rural people is agriculture. Population-wise, urban areas are more densely populated than the rural areas. By population density, we mean the number of people for a given unit of area. And we know that urban areas are developed and planned in a systematic way. However, development in rural areas is seldom. If we look at the differences between urban and rural life, we all know by our common observations that in town and cities or in urban life, we have many education institutions, we have a good transportation system available, good medical facilities and a better job opportunities. And in contrast, in rural life, we have less good educational institutes, old or less means of transportation, absence of good health and hygiene facilities, and less job opportunities. However, the people residing in the rural areas, they enjoy natural and clean atmosphere. But the people who are residing in town and cities or who are enjoying the urban life, they have to survive in polluted environment. Population growth is the increase in the number of individuals in a population. If you look at a graph on page number 64 of your book, it shows the rate of population growth in Pakistan from 1947 till 2007. If you look at this bar graph, you can very easily answer to me that by how much did the population increase between 1947 and 2007. It increased by 4 times. And if I ask you a question, is this increased a good sign or a bad one? Definitely, this is not a good sign. Because in Pakistan we have the limited resources and then more people to use it. The increase in population is fast, and as Pakistan is a developing country, food supplies and other necessities do not grow at the same rate. This is not good for a country as it results in growing poverty and leads to overpopulation. Another term used in this chapter is literacy. Literacy is defined as being able to read and write or to having a knowledge about a specific subject. When you can read, this is an example of literacy, and when you are familiar with a particular subject like mathematics, this becomes an example of a literacy in mathematics. We also need to understand what is meant by the term literacy rate. The literacy rate measures the percentage of the people aged 15 and above and who are able to read and write. In 2017, Pakistan's total literacy rate was around 59%, with less than 47% of women being literate and more than 71% of men. If we do the comparison of a literacy rate among the provinces of Pakistan, we will came to know that the literacy rate of Balochistan is 44%, which is lowest among all the provinces of Pakistan. Punjab leads with 63%, followed by Sindh with 60%. However, the literacy rate has increased in Pakistan due to the emphasis on education. If a person is not literate, he has to face some consequences. An illiterate person has a less ability to obtain and understand essential information. He has the less chance of getting the good jobs, and his income is low as compared to the person who is literate. An illiterate person also faces the lack of confidence and less self-esteem. An important question mentioned on page 64 of your book, that why do the road signs not use the words? Answer is very simple, because not all the people are educated. An illiterate person will be unable to read and understand the written material. Therefore, signs are used instead of writing on the boards. Road signs are designed to make sure that every driver is kept safe. They help to create order on the roadways and are employed to provide essential information to the drivers, either they are the literate one or they are the illiterate one. Here are some Pakistani road signs. The first one shows the sign of the no parking. The second one shows that trucks are not allowed on this particular road. The third one shows that do not turn left. The fourth one is for showing that road working ahead, and the fifth one shows that a steep hill downwards, so be careful while driving. Another important topic mentioned on page number 66 of your book, which is related to the SAARC. SAARC is the acronym of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. SAARC provides a platform for the people of South Asia to work together in spirit of friendship, trust and understanding. SAARC was set up in Dhaka on 8 December 1985. It was founded by Mr. Ziaur Rahman, who was the president of Bangladesh at that time. The headquarters of SAARC is in Nepal. Initially, there were 7 member countries of SAARC, which include Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. However, during the 14th SAARC summit, Afghanistan became its 8th member in April 2007. You can see the SAARC flag on your book. What do you think the logo means? The 7 pigeons in the center of the logo represent the 7 countries, and a pigeon is a symbol of peace and freedom. However, the 2 hands are united at the bottom of the logo to show support of 7 nations for one and another. We need to understand that why SAARC is formed. The idea was to establish the better cultural and social ties among the member states to promote peace in the region. It was also intended to promote trade among the members in order to improve the economic status of its members and to raise it from a region of poverty to a region of economic and social well-being. The aims of the SAARC are the following: to improve the life of the people of member countries, to speed up economic growth and social development, to reinforce the links between member countries, and to promote cooperation and collaboration in various fields. The combined population of the SAARC countries makes up 22% of the world population. The member countries meet from time to time to discuss the different issues and take decisions. On your screen, you can see the flags of the member countries of the SAARC. The first one flag is of Pakistan, and we know the capital of Pakistan is Islamabad. Then on number 2 have India, whose capital is New Delhi. Number 3 flag is of Bangladesh. The capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka. On number 4 you can see the flag of Sri Lanka, whose capital city is Colombo. Kathmandu is the capital city of Nepal, and Thimphu is the capital city of Bhutan. The capital city of Maldives is Malé, and Kabul is the capital city of Afghanistan. The 11 stated areas of cooperation among these member countries include agriculture, education, culture and sports, health, population and childcare. However, the mutual cooperation has been done in the fields of environment, rural development, tourism, transport, science and technology, and as well as in the field of communication. I hope you were all able to understand the main concepts of chapter number 14. Thank you for watching this video and taking the time to patiently listen to what I had to say. I wish you all a blessed day. Thank you very much.